So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this first video looking at two-way tables, we'll be focusing on how to complete a two-way table from some information that's given in a question. Now, data that is collected can often be from more than one category. So for example, data collected on children at a primary school may include their gender as one category and their year group as another. Now, two-way tables are a way of sorting data so that the frequency of each category can be seen quickly and easily. So for example, if 20 people were questioned about whether they have a pet or not, the results can be seen in a two-way table, which is seen below. Now, from the table, it can be seen that there were 9 girls and 11 boys questioned. 4 girls owned pets and 5 girls did not, and subsequently 9 boys owned pets and 2 boys did not. Now, from this table, what is really important is understanding what these totals are. So this total here represents the total boys. So that's the total number of, and this number here represents the total number of girls. This number here represents the overall total, so the grand total. And if I get another highlighter, let's see if we can get a different colour. Let's go for green. So, and this number here represents the total number of pupils that own a pet. And this number here will represent the total number of students, or pupils I should say, who don't own a pet. And so it's really important that you're just able to establish that although we've got lots of totals for each of the columns and rows, they all represent different amounts, and the grand total is the number that's located in the bottom right hand corner of your two-way table. Now, it is possible for you to have more categories, but again, it'll usually represent a two-way table because you're going to have columns and you'll have rows going along. Now, in this topic, you will need to be able to, one, complete a two-way table from given partial values from the table. You'll also need to be able to draw and complete a table from reading information. This may include use of ratios, fractions and percentages. And you'll also need to be able to complete a table from reading information from a two-way table to write as fractions, percentages, ratios and probabilities, which again will be covered in the next video on two-way tables. Now, in terms of prior knowledge, now this is what you're going to need to be good at in order to make this topic extremely easy. So you're going to need to be able to be comfortable with adding, subtracting, finding amounts from fractions and percentages, which are covered in another video, and also being able to share an amount using a ratio, which again is covered in a previous video. So let's have a look at this first example. So in this first example, it says that the two-way table shows some information about the number of students in a school. So here we've got year groups and we've got gender. And the question is asking us to complete the two-way table. So here you can see we've got quite a lot of missing numbers from this table. Now, there may be one way of working this out, but there may be more than one way of working out. And basically what we need to do is fill in the totals first. So what we're going to do is going to kind of ignore the numbers inside this. So again, choosing appropriate color, let's go for yellow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the numbers here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with the totals first. And that's usually a good point to start with. Now, if I just highlight this box here, then these three numbers of 303, 256, plus another number, which I don't know, needs to add up to equal 831. So to work out what this missing number here is going to be, what I need to do is 831, take away 303, take away 256. And again, I can either do that on my calculator or do it by writing it down, depending on if it's on a non-calculator or a calculator paper. And I get an answer of 272. Now, likewise, I can then work out what this number here is going to be, because 407 plus that mystery number needs to add up to 831. So to work out what this number here is, all I need to do is 831, take away 407, and that works out to be 400 124. Now once I've got my totals, I can then try and use those totals to work out what these missing 4 numbers are going to be. Now there may be only one way of doing this. So for example, I can work out this one, not a problem, because 125 plus something equals 272. So to work out this number here, what I need to do is 272, so the total, take away the number that I know. So I do 272 take away 125, and that gives me 147. And subsequently I can work out what this number here is going to be, so the number of boys in year 10, because I can work that out by doing 256, which is the total of year 10s, take away the number of girls that are in year 10, which is 123, so 256 take away 123 gives me an answer of 133. Now with the year 9s, I don't know how many boys and girls there are, apart from the fact that I know that there's 303 year 9 students. However, I can use the total boys to then work out how many year 9 boys are, because that's the only missing number that I have got in the data for the boys. So to work out this number here, what I need to do is do 407, which is the grand total, take away the 2 other amounts of boys that I know, which is 133 and 125, so 407 take away 133 minus 125, and that gives me 149. Now there's a couple of ways in which I could work out what the number of year 9 girls are. Either I could do 303 minus 149, or what I could do is 424 minus 123 minus 147. Now it doesn't really matter which one you do, but they all should give you the same answer. So it should give you 154, which this calculation does, and I've chosen that one because it involves less numbers. And if I did 424 take away 123 take away 147, it gives me the exact same answer. So it's always good and worth to check that there may be more than one way to work out what a missing number is, but you want to try and be efficient. And there you can see we have completed our two-way table. So let's have a look at another question. So this one's a little bit bigger. And it says, so the question says that a factory makes 3 sizes of bookcase. The sizes are small, medium and large. Each bookcase is made up from pine, oak or yew. The two-way table shows the information about the number of bookcases the factory makes in 1 week. So what we need to do is find out this. Now we don't know what all the totals are. We do know what the totals are for the pine, oak and yew, but we don't know what the grand total is. So that's always a good starting point to aim for. So let's work out what the grand total is. Now I can't use the total of the bookcases to work that out because I'm missing one number, but I can use the total of each of the types of wood because I do have those 3 numbers already done. So all I need to do is simply add those numbers up. So 23 plus 34 plus 13 gives me 70. So the grand total is 70. And again, how I've worked that number out is 23 plus 34 plus 13. So now I've worked this number out, I can now work out what the total number of medium trees is going to be. And again, how do I work that out? Well, I know that the grand total is 70, and I need to take away the 2 other type sizes of books, which is 20 minus 14. So 70 take away 20 take away 14 gives me an answer of 36. Now looking at the medium, I can, again, I've only got one missing number in the medium. So using that, and I can use this number, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to do 36 take away 16 take away 8. So again, 36 take away 16 take away 8, which leaves me with 12. Now again, I can then work out how many pine large books there are, because again, I've got 2 values, I'm only missing one number. So to work this out, I need to do 23 take away 7 take away 12. So 23 take away 7 take away 12 leaves me with 4. And then from there I can then work out what this number here is, because all of those 3 numbers need to add up to 14. So I've got 4 plus 2, so I've got 14 take away 4 take away 2, which is 6, which leaves me with 8. And then finally, to work out this last missing number, which is the oak small, all I need to do is add up the 2 other numbers. So 7 plus 3, which is 10, take away from 20, and that leaves me with 10. Again, how have I worked that out? From 20 minus 7 minus 3. And there we have completed our two-way table. So in this next section, what we're going to do is going to read information to complete a two-way table. So this is where we've not given any values in a two-way table, but we need to read the information to fill in this, complete this table. So in this particular question, it says 80 children went on a school trip. They went to either London or they went to York. 23 boys and 19 girls went to London and 14 boys went to York. And the question is asking us to use the information to complete the two-way table. Now, reading is really, really important. It's quite understated when it comes to maths. But it is an important skill that we need to be able to do. So what we need to do ideally is work out what the grand total is, because what we want to know what the totals are. So we can see here that we know that 80 children went on a school trip. So this number here is going to be 80. And we know that there's two locations, so that's London and York. Now we've got two genders, which is boys and girls. And what it says that 23 boys and 19 girls went to London. So this is going to be 23. And that's going to be 19, and it also says that 14 boys went to York, so that's going to be 14. So what we need to now do is complete the rest of the table. So what's written in red is the information that's been given in the question, and all those blank boxes are what I now need to fill in. So looking at this again, I'm looking at the totals now. I can only complete boxes where I know the other numbers. So for example here, I can't work out the total number of girls because again I don't know how many girls went to York yet, and I also don't know how many boys went in total. However, so let's work that out first. So I've got 23 plus 14. So again, let's imagine this is a non-calculator. So again, just going to add the numbers up. So I've got 7 and I've got 3, so that's going to be 37. Now here I can then work out what the total number of people who went to London. So that's going to be 9 plus 3, which is 2. Carry the 1, so that's going to be 42. So from this, I can now either work out the two totals. I can either work out the total number of girls, or I can work out the total number of people that went to York. And it doesn't really matter which one I do first. So to work out this number here, all I need to do is 80 take away 37, which is going to be 43. And to work out this number here, all I need to do is 80 take away 42, which is going to be 38. Now from this, all I need to do then is work out how many girls went to York. Well, if 38 people went in total and 14 of them were boys, then to work out what this missing number is, all I need to do is 38 take away 14, which is going to give me an answer of 24. And there we've completed our table. So in this next example, you can clearly see that we do not have a table, which is not helpful. So let's have a look at a read of the question. So it says, Felicity asked 100 students how they came to school one day. Each student either walked, came by bicycle, or came by car. And this is where all the numbers start. So it says 49 out of the 100 students are girls, 10 of the girls came by car, 16 boys walked, and 21 of the 41 students who came by bicycle are boys. Work out the total number of students who walk to school. Now here it's not implied that we draw a two-way table, but again it might be implied either from your teacher or just by general practice of maths that a two-way table may be a good idea. So let's start by having a look at the categories. Well, we know that we've got our methods of transport. So we've got walking, we've got bike, and we've got car. So let's set up our table. So let's go for purple. So here we've got walk, we've got bike, and we've got car. And we're also going to have our total. And we've also got boys and girls as our two columns. So let's just write boys and girls, and we're also going to have our total. Now this is where I kind of embarrassed myself by trying to draw a straight line, so let's do that properly. So let's set up our table, and let's get another line, and another line, another line. Just got a few more lines to draw. Actually, let's try clever. Go for this. Probably should have done this onset. Again, we're not going to lose any marks into neatness. Maybe for that one though. And so So what we're going to do, and what this question's asking us to do, is to find the total number of students who walk to school. So this, whatever number is going to be in this box here, is going to be our answer. So let's start by completing the table. So we know that Felicity asked 100 students in total. So this number here is going to be 100. Now it's going to annoy me, that line, so let me just get rid of it. Because it's sync. Yeah. Let's just stick a freehand line under the total. There we go. So looking at that, so that's our one bit of information filled in. It says that 49 of the 100 students are girls. So our total number of girls is 49. And it then says 10 of the girls came by car. So 10 of the girls came by car. So that's going to be 10. It then says that 16 boys walked. So that's going to be 16. And it says 21 of the 41 students who came by bicycle. So the total for bicycle must be 41. And 21 of them are boys. So that's going to be 21. So from all the information that's given to me, this is what I filled in my two-way table. And like I said, what the question is asking me for the total number of students who walk to school. So the number that goes in that pink box is going to be my final answer. So let's start by completing the table. So we know that there's 100 students in total and 49 of them are girls. So that must mean that 51 are going to be boys. And let me just put a little number 1 next to it because that's the first one that I filled in. Now the next one I can then fill in is going to be the total number of boys who travelled by car, and that's going to be calculated by doing 51 take away 16 take away 21, which gives me 14. Now from this I can then work out what the total number of people who took the car, which is going to be 24, by adding 14 and 10. I can then work out what my total is going to be at this stage. But so from this, because I know what the total number of people who travel by bike, I know what the total number of people who travel by car is going to be, so I can easily then go straight into the answer by doing 100 take away 41 take away 24, which is 35. Now again, I don't necessarily need to complete the table, and this is one of the reasons why there was no insistence of me drawing a two-way table, because I didn't need to complete the table to get the final answer. However, now that I've started it, let's complete the table. Well, if there's 35 people in total who walked and 60 of them are boys, then that must mean that 35 take away 16 gives me 19, so that means that there are 19 girls who walked to school. And also then for the number of girls who took the bike, well again I can either do 41 take away 21, so that's going to give me 20. And then again adding those numbers up all adds up to fine, and that is going to be there. So the final answer then is going to be 35. Now it's always worth that if you have drawn a two-way table to help you write down, to work out, calculate an answer, make sure that you don't just leave the answer in the table. Especially I've done okay because I've highlighted it in sort of pink, but it's always good practice to make sure that you are writing and making it obvious what the answer to the question is being asked is actually what it actually is. So don't leave your answer in the table is basically what I'm saying. So let's have a look at our next question. So it says that Janice asks 100 students if they like biology or chemistry or physics best. 38 of the students are girls, 21 of these girls like biology best, 18 boys like physics best, and 7 of the 23 students who like chemistry best are girls. And the question is asking us to work out the number of students who liked biology best. Personally, I would not have taken this survey, but there you go. So let's complete this table. So here we've got biology. I don't have to write down the subjects in total. You could just abbreviate it with just the first letters would have been fine. But we'll go the whole hog. So physics, I can spell it right, which I clearly can audit. Physics. And we've got the total. Now we've got boys. And we've got girls. And we've got the total. And let me just stretch these out so it all makes perfect sense. So there is our table, and what we're going to do now is fill in the numbers. Now, first things first, from this we need to work out, well, what are they actually asking me? So they're actually asking me to work out the total number of students who like biology best. So it's this box here, which is my final answer. So let's have a look at the numbers. So it says 100 students were asked in total. So again, 100. It says 38 of the students are girls, so the total number of girls is 38. It then says 21 of these girls liked biology best, so that's going to be 21. It then says 18 boys liked physics best, so that's going to be 18. And 7 out of the 23 students, so 23 chemistry students liked chemistry best, and 7 of them are girls. So from this, here is our information that's given, and this is what we now need to complete. So what we're now going to do is fill in the numbers that we know. So I can work out what this one here is by doing 100 take away 38, which is 62. I can then work out what the total number of girls who liked physics by doing 38 minus 7 minus 21, and that's going to be 10. I can then work out how many students in total like physics, which is going to be 28. And then from this, I can then work out what the total number of people who like biology are by doing 100 take away 23 take away 28, which, if I calculate that, gives me an answer of 49. And then if I wanted to, I could then complete the table. So from this, I can do 21 take away 49, or the other way around I should say, and that's going to be 28. And then 23 take away 7, which gives me 16, and there is my completed table. So the final answer for this is going to be 49. And again, if you're doing this in a test, make sure you're not leaving your answer in the table. Make sure you're writing your answer so it's obvious. And there we have done. You can put an exploding bomb, that's absolutely fine, but there we go. So let's have a look at this next question then. So in this next example, it says that 60 pupils from Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 were surveyed about whether or not they watched Netflix. So it's 30% of those who were asked were from Key Stage 4. Half of the Key Stage 3 pupils did watch Netflix, and 5/6 of Key Stage 4 pupils did not watch Netflix. So let's have a look at what this all represents. So first things first, let's work out the total. So the total number of students that were asked, and all we're asked here is to complete the table. And this does involve percentages, fractions, ratios, etc. So we know that this number here has got to be 60. Now from this, it then says that 30% of those who were asked, which is 60, 30% of them are Key Stage 4. So what we need to do is we need to work out what 30% of 60 is. And that's going to be 60 divided by 10 times 3, which is going to give me 18. So that means that 30% of those asked were Key Stage 4, so that means that 18 students were asked in Key Stage 4. Now from that, I can then work out how many total students there were in Key Stage 3 by doing 18 take away from 60 rather, and that's going to give me an answer of 42. It then says that half of the Key Stage 3 pupils did watch Netflix. So what I then need to do is 50% of 42, which is 21. So these two numbers here are going to be 21 and 21. Now for this last bit, it then says that 5/6 of Key Stage 4 pupils don't watch Netflix, which again I hardly believe that is going to be the case. So, but let's have a look at the numbers. So for this, what we need to do is we need to work out what 5/6 of the total number of Key Stage 4 students there are. So we need to work out 5/6 of 18. So for this, I need to do 18 divided by 6 multiplied by 5. So 18 divided by 6 is 3, times by 5 is 15. So this number here is going to be 15, and this number here is going to be 3, because obviously those two numbers there need to add up to 18. So from this, we can then work out the total number of people who watch Netflix and those total that don't watch Netflix, and those two numbers added together should give me a grand total of 60. So 21 plus 3 is 24, and 21 plus 15 is 36, and those two numbers added together does give me 60. So there I've got my completed table. Now again, it's really important that you're confident and able to make sure you read the questions carefully, but also in this, taking in consideration this last example, that it's really important that you're able to work with percentages, work with fractions, and work with ratios. Even though it's not included in this particular question, they are including it a lot more in exam questions, both on the foundation and the higher. Now we'll include some practice questions of completing a two-way table from some information given in the description below for you to try and practice and for you to gauge how much of this you actually understand.